The first type of graphic element that we're going to add to a document is to insert shapes. Sometimes you'll put shapes into a document for artistic effect. Sometimes you're trying to get some attention drawn to a certain part of your document. Sometimes you're just asking somebody a question. So we're going to look at a couple of different types of shapes we'll add here and the purposes for adding those shapes. For this area, we're working with the food truck newsletter document we started earlier. Now, other people have come in and worked on this document since, so we've had a few things added, as you will see. To get started, though, on inserting shapes, we have an area on the very first page that says Get Started Right Away. Now, maybe we need to ask somebody what to put here. So I'm going to click on the Insert tab. I'm going to click on Shapes. And one shape that you might see added to a document fairly often for when you're trying to get somebody to answer a question for you is a callout. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to callouts, and I'm going to click on a callout, and then I'm just going to click and drag. And I'm going to point the part of the callout I want to point at text to the text. And then from here, we can just add some text to this callout. So I'll just click in here and add a message. What should we put here? So that's one example of using a shape. To see another example of using a shape, let's scroll down to another part of this newsletter. Here's a page where it's telling us sales are up. That's good news. It says here, see the area below for some specific numbers as to our increase in sales over the previous year. Now to illustrate that, we'll add a couple of more shapes. So to do this, I'm just going to create a little space here. And then we'll go to Insert, and we'll go to Shapes, and I'm looking for some kind of an up arrow I can type inside of. Maybe one of these. So I'll click right arrow, and I'm going to click and drag to draw the arrow. Now we're going to change the colors of some of these shapes later on, but right now the focus is to get what we need on the page. So I'll click in here and type some text. Sales are up 20%. And then I'm going to add another shape here. First thing we'll do is click away from this. And I'm going to click on the Insert tab and go back over to Shapes. Let's just put another shape here. We'll go a little bit more of a generic shape this time. This rounded rectangle looks as good as any to use. And I'll click and drag here. Now notice, if we click and drag, it's going to cover up text if we take up too much space. In other words, when you're adding shapes to the page, the shapes don't pay any attention to where your text is. So you need to be a little bit careful here. So I'm just going to take the corner here and click and drag up a little bit to get this to fit where we want on the page. And then I'll click on it and add some text. Sales are up, complaints are down, which is why sales are up. Well, that's just one reason why sales are up, but that's a good one. Now, maybe you want to make sure these shapes are lined up properly. Anytime you want to line shapes up, you just have to select both of the shapes. We've already got one of the shapes selected. Now I'm going to hold down the Shift key and I'm going to select the other shape. So now we've got the selection handles around both of the shapes. Then on the ribbon, we have a Format tab. And on this Format tab over here in the Arrange area, we've got a line. And I'm going to click the drop-down arrow on a line. And I'm going to want to align these by their middles. This is a vertical alignment we're doing here. So I'm going to click Align Middle. And you'll notice now you could draw an imaginary line through the middles of these shapes and they would be aligned. So this actually looks pretty decent so far. And again, we'll format this a little bit more later on. We just want to build the page right now.